In the darkness, I talked about a few things. In the light, I talked about a few things. And these are the same concepts to me, the darkness and the light. Except for they are still polars at the same time. So how is that possible? How is the darkness like the light at all? Well, first off, they're prime. They're both primes. And to be a prime, you have to supersede all activity of grayscale or gray area. So to supersede grayscale or gray area, I tried to use emphasis on the light. And to do that, I would do different things. These different things were not a random occurrence at most points. At other points, they were a random occurrence. So to have the light, to see a tell, one must be able to experience what a fable is, experience what a metaphor is. To experience what a metaphor or a tell is, we have to allegorize ourselves with what they're actually trying to convey to us. We have to try to speak without using our words to say. And to do that, we must use several different methods of propagation. Different methods of communication. And these different methods of communication is what I'm talking about in the darkness, is change I want to see in people. To allow for synchronicity to take place in other people's lives besides my own. To allow for there to be a sense of cherished bewilderment of the revolving world, a cherished understanding of the revolving world that could be shared and interlocked with metaphor, with storytelling and fable, of our own conceptions, of objective and subjective conceptions, of all these issues. And upon that, I lay down different grounds to place my bets. And to place my bets, I must say, I do not understand another man to his entirety, but I will state that I understand myself. And to understand myself, I must allow for myself to see different things, to experience different bewilderments. And to experience these different things, I must see through claims that are more tangential in meaning than previously stated before. More tangential in meaning than previously stated before. But linear thinking is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than tangential thinking. So we have different similarities and different gifts in those respects. All humans share those things. And to have tangential experience on the most basic of levels is to still have tangential experience. To have linear on the most basic of levels is to have linear on the most basic of levels. And what I mean by that is, when I look at the darkness, I see certain random occurrences taking place, certain purposeful occurrences taking place. And I lock those things up and I remember them, and then I use them again later. And that is what I'm talking about. Using things, re-referencing data, and allowing for ourselves to have a sense of well-being in that respect. So, to pick up on something is not necessarily an intuitive clause, nor is it a reasonable clause, yet it could be considered a clause of practiced skill. Practiced skill would pick up on certain cues, pick up on certain retrospects, and use these things to their advantage. And the more we are able to use these things to our advantage, the more we're able to see what I'm talking about. The more you're able to see through that lens, to see through the eyes of me, through the eyes of another. And I try to pick up on different things every time I go out in conversation. I try to manifest myself to the most creative and the most intuitive possibility that I can. Yet, when it comes down to it, the power enfolded thereof is not always going to be the best suited for that given lifetime or that given time span. And in that given time span, we have different propositions that I have laid down to my friends, family, and acquaintances. And those things are picked up on now. And as I'm picking these things up, I'm giving them back to you as the reader. And so, how do we pick up on those things? How do we pick up on seeing the ring or seeing the crown? Are there differences in the ring and the crown? Are they the same? How are they different? How are they the same? Well, they're different and the same in many retrospects. For example, my lighter. Most people would claim my lighter to be a farce. I claim it to be true. I view it to be moving acquaintably to the music and eloquently to the music through some sort of media volume of my mind outwardly escaping the fracture of existence, yet most people would say, no, it's just a common misunderstanding, a common misinterpretation of that, of what you're actually doing. But yet I see it within every time I propagate my light forward. So how is that true? How do I see that? How do I understand that? The same way that I understand this light. The same way that I understand any given light. I used to play with the lights out front of my house.